All right, hopefully everyone is having a good Sunday out there. We're going to do a little bit of a deep dive into the Sacramento Kings. They are team 22 to enter the offseason. Golden State goes on to advance to the conference semifinals. They will play the Lakers. The Warriors. The Kings offseason guide is up on ESPN.com. They are one of 22 teams that you can read about all in one document. We are going to talk a little bit about Sacramento. Big picture, let's say small picture based off today. It just felt like the clock struck midnight right around, I guess, somewhere in between middle of the third quarter and then when Clay hit three and got fouled at the end of the third quarter here. It just felt like the clock struck midnight on this terrific season, and then it all went downhill. So I'm not looking at what happened in the fourth quarter to kind of put a dark cloud over this season. They exceeded expectations to become the 3 seed, 48 wins. We can all go in that, and the future is bright. Like, this is not a one-off. This is not a fluke of a season, and that's kind of how I look at the state of the roster. Fox is under contract. Sabonis has got another year left. Mike Brown has proven to justify that Coach of the Year award. Malik Monk and Davion Mitchell are back under contract. 4 out of your 5 starters are under contract. So the state of the roster is strong. However, what's going to happen here is that whenever you have a team that nobody expected anything to do during the regular season, and I thought this team could have been a play-in team. I said it in August on NBA Today. I thought this team was a play-in team. But when you jump to the 3 seed, now everyone wants to know what is next. And that is going to be the hard thing for Sacramento, is managing expectations. Managing expectations on a roster that had the fewest games missed and had the fewest starting lineups. So from a health standpoint on the court, it was as good as advertised. Like, there was little to no adversity as it relates to your roster during the season. Yes, Sabonis got hurt, but still played with it. I mean, the roster of Fox, Herter, Murray, Barnes, and Sabonis played 63 games together. That's 15 more than any 5-man lineup. So when you look at it, like, there is going to be some adversity next year. And it's going to be a matter of how you manage the expectations and how you deal with adversity. But as I said, last year their goal was to address their shooting. They went out and signed Malik Monk, and they wound up trading for Kevin Herter. This year, their priority is going to be retaining their own free agents. Harrison Barnes, Trey Lyles, Alex Len, Terrence Davis. Those are your your key free agents in Sacramento. You're well under. I'm going to go into the finances. You're well under the luxury tax, where you can bring a group of those players back and still use your non-tax mid-level exception. So now it's about fortifying kind of your roster moving into the offseason here. So as far as from a finance standpoint, and you've got draft picks, 24, 38, and 54. Those are your 3 picks. So you got 2 in the top 40. So you can add 1 or 2 players to help your roster. They've got $104 million in guaranteed contracts. Sacramento is over the salary cap. Salary cap's $134 because of the free agent holds of Harrison Barnes and Alex Len and Trey Lyles. You have to make a decision on your own free agents before you decide to use cap space. You can't use cap space and then go back and sign your own free agent. So those players have over $40 million in holds. So you can bring back that group. You can use your non-tax mid-level exception. You can draft a player to have an impact. You can use your 2 second-round picks as two-way players here. So you have a lot of roster and financial flexibility. Really, the only big decisions from a roster standpoint is P.J. Dozier's got a $2.4 million contract, becomes guaranteed on July 10th, and Kessler Edwards has a $1.9 million team option. Those are from that perspective here. Now, your big decision is going to be the contract of Harrison Barnes. Let's face it, did not have a good series against Golden State. Basically was benched in Game 7. Had a poor stretch in the second quarter. has been your most durable and probably one of your more consistent players during the last 4 or 5 years. Played all 82 games, 9 out of the last 11 seasons, has played 70 games or more. Scoring has kind of gone a little bit of a dip, 15 points this year. That's the fewest since 1920. A little bit of regression in the shot, 36.6 on catch and shoot threes. Last year was at 42%. He's eligible for 4 for 98.6 before June 30th as far as an extension. What is your comfort level with Harrison Barnes? Is it that 18 to $20 million range, maybe 3 for 60? Because if you let him go, you've got cap flexibility, but the likelihood is that flexibility goes to a Domantas Sabonis renegotiation. And we'll talk about that in a minute here. So you've got a big decision as far as what to do with Harrison Barnes. Trey Lyles is a free agent. He's got early bird rights, which means the minimum contract could be 2 years. You can't sign him to a 1-year deal. You can sign him. The most you have to sign, $11.9 million. I think for him, 3 for 24, somewhere in that range. Maybe a team comes in and signs him to the non-tax, but for me, I think it's in that $8 to $9 million range. You could still go to 11 if you had to and still stay under the luxury tax, even with Barnes. So Harrison Barnes, you got to figure out. You got to figure out with Trey Lyles, Alex Len, Terrence Davis. Those are kind of your other two core free agents here. But the Barnes thing is going to be interesting just because, as I said, he's been consistent, he's been durable, but he had a poor playoff series here. As far as extension candidates, Sabonis is interesting because he's renegotiation and he's extension eligible. However, because of the Barnes and Lyles free agent holds, you do not have cap space. You cannot renegotiate like Miles Turner right now. If those guys are not brought back, you possibly can, but then that hurts your roster because then you really only have the $7.6 million room mid-level here. It would cost you your own free agents possibly here. Maybe you move the Rashawn Holmes contract. So there's a lot of different variables here. I would say it's unlikely that there's a renegotiation in place for Sabonis, and I would even say that it's unlikely that there's an extension in place for Sabonis because the extension, although it's changed the rules, 4 for 122 is the most because it's 140%, not based off what he can earn. And as far as a max guy, it's basically $132 million less than what he can earn on a 5-year max the following offseason in 2024, and $65 million less than what he can earn signing with another free agent. Is he a max guy? Suspect. It's probably one of those kind of based on circumstances here. So I would say unlikely on a renegotiation on Sabonis because I don't think Sacramento is going to have the cap space. And I would say unlikely on an extension just because of where the number is. So I would say unlikely there. But he's not Supermax eligible because he was traded, even though he'll likely earn all NBA. Rashawn Holmes, Chimenzi, Matu are the other extension candidates. We don't have to worry about that. I think their team needs certainly addressing the defense that ranked in the bottom 6 during the year, allowed 26 in opponents' points allowed in the paint. Front court depth based on what happens to your own free agents. As I said, you have 3 picks, 2 in the top 40. You have Atlanta at 2024, top 14 protected. So the earliest that you can trade a pick is 2 years after that's conveyed. Listen. The future in Sacramento is extremely, extremely bright. It sucks losing a Game 7 at home after you just stole one on the road in Game 6 here. But as I said, it's all about managing expectations going into next year. 4 out of 5 starters are back. Your big decision is Barnes and Trey Lyles, what you do in the draft. What else? What you do with your non-tax mid-level exception, what you do with your other free agents here, but you've got your core group. Fox, Murray, Sabonis, Herter, who did not play well in the playoffs, Mitchell and Monk off the bench. Now you got to fortify your front court here. So all in all, a good year, certainly a disappointing ending.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.